Okay, so you're looking for a way to add width to your 808s or bass without absolutely throwing it out of phase, which I'll explain. I'm going to show you this one technique that I use to add width to my bass or 808s, simply. Check this out. I'm going to show you how I took my bass from this very slight, just kind of opens up the bass a bit more. And you can see that originally, when you look at my meter, you can see in the stereo field that this bass was very, very mono. But we found a way to give it a little bit more side information and have it still be punchy and not lose that low energy focus that it already has. And this is where I was talking about with the phase. I'm going to show you a way to add width to your 808s and bass without, one, throwing it out of phase, and also maintaining still that center, focus, punch, and low end that we love. We're just gonna add a little bit of side information in that regard and width to the bass in a very, very friendly way to the bass. You'll see exactly what I mean. Okay, first things first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the Ozone Imager 11. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna zero this out. I am going to make a cut on the Ozone Imager 11 at about 300 Hertz and below. And of course, the other side of this is 300 Hertz and above. Now, the reason why I'm making this cut is because everything in the bottom of this bass, I am not trying to raise the side information of. What I want is the low energy, as far as the 60 Hertz, all of that low energy, 300 Hertz and below, I want that to stay where it is from a phase standpoint. I want to keep that stuff pretty mono. What that's going to allow me to do is still have a bass that is in phase, and it's also going to look at my bass and it's still going to give me that focus and punch that I love in the center channel. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add width to everything from 300 Hertz and above, which is more of that gritty kind of intelligible kind of stuff in the bass that I'm definitely gonna hear on things like cell phones or smaller speakers. This is all the information that we're looking to raise the side or the width of. Check this out. I'm gonna solo everything on this bass from 300 Hertz and above. And now listen to everything at 300 Hertz and below. So I want to keep that body and that low end energy down in the mono or the mid channel, like by itself. And then the stuff that's 300 Hertz and above that you heard that was like a more bright and more bitey and more mid-rangey, I'm going to open that up a little bit. And that gives me the perception of width while still maintaining the phase of that stuff from 300 Hertz and below. That's going to allow me to have a bass that feels wider, but still maintains that focus and punch in the center channel that I love and adore so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the 300 Hertz and above. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the side or the width of it. Now, the other thing about this is in this particular plugin, I love to have the stereo on. And what it does is it's taking the mid channel, right? And it's delaying that signal in the side just a little bit. So it's like a copy of the mid channel signal, and then it's giving a little bit to the sides and delaying that a bit, creating a really, really cool psychoacoustic effect that sounds really, really nice. So I really enjoy having the stereo on because it gives me a little bit more of an exaggeration of that width and stuff like that. So it's the mid channel copy, side information delayed a little bit. So it has a really, really cool effect, and I really enjoy it. So I'm highly recommending to try it for yourself. Please be mindful of your phase. Check your phase. That's very important because things will disappear in mono. Some people don't care about it, but some people do. So I just want to be mindful of that with you. So I have stereo on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this up. So let's turn this up. Check this out. I'm going to exaggerate things too. So that's me exaggerating it. You can hear that bass sound just get more open sounding, kind of take up the stereo field. Now, granted, I don't want to do that. I just want it in a subtle way that just opens the bass up a bit. So I'm highly recommending, please use this in moderation. I'm going to back off to a reasonable spot, and then I'm going to bypass back and forth. Now, sometimes you can even take the step a bit further, and you could decide for yourself if you want to take 300 hertz and below and mono it out more. In this case, in this scenario, this thing is so mono. This bass, even just from coming out of Serum, is super mono, so I'm not worried about it. But you could, if you wanted to give it more of that contrast between what's mono and then what's in the side. And that's going to give you an even greater kind of perception of a width in the bass, where you have something that's super mono in it, but then you have something frequency-wise content that has some side information as well. So super simple. Please be mindful. Please be careful with this, because I feel like this could be very overused. It's a really simple idea and technique you could use. Be also mindful that when you're listening back to your bass, if things feel like they disappear, that's also a possibility. When you're dealing with things like stereo width and playing with phase, something that you have to be very mindful of is listening very carefully to make sure, or to just be honest with yourself as far as, yeah, that got wide, but I lost something. That's also something to be mindful of. I enjoy the sound of this one in particular. I've been using this one for a hot minute as far as just to get a little bit of bass. I used and exaggerated it just a bit more in this tutorial to kind of show you. But even on a mono sounding bass, you can see what it can do as far as just opening up your bass sound and giving you a little bit more width, just in a tasteful way and not this super exaggerated way. So I hope that was helpful. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And also remember, if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know in the comments. Also, you can become a member of the channel. It would help so much in just keeping this thing going. And also head on over to helpmedevvon.com to get you some of our goodies, plugins, etc. I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, let me know what else you want to see next. Until next time.